below 32.
If you want attention from your teacher, they make time.
I mean,
to
that's
give
what
it.
works.
But the teacher isn't always going to be able to.
But if attention was available to all students, you think they would learn better?
I think it is available to all students. I just don't think all the students take advantage of it.
Okay.
I think that if you need help after school, there's teachers are always here to help.
Like some people. Do you think that having smaller class sizes could possibly have a positive effect on students' learning?
Absolutely. I mean, my class, I have 15. I think that's way better than having a class of 30. There's data out there. I know there's a number of people who believe this, that after 30, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can have a class of 200. Don't tell me that when I'm in college and I have 200 people in my class that the professor has a clue who I am. You guys probably know that if you're in a class with a teacher who cares about you, you try harder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think if you have better connections with your students, they're more likely to try more, and you get better outcome from it.
So you think like one-on-one time is pretty crucial?
Yes. Yes. I think to have much more than about 25 in a class gets to be, you lose people.
Okay.
They get lost.
Yeah. Very passionate.
Best teachers are the ones who are passionate enough just to go on and on and on about what they want to learn or what they want to teach. So they can almost make it fun because they find it fun. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I don't know. It's different for different people. I think it's a passion. It's whatever your passion happens to be. And some people say you go to teaching because summer's off, whatever, and all of that. And it's not. I mean, it's a passion. Anything you go into, it's because you have a passion about that. It's something you enjoy, you love. So I think your really good teachers are going to come no matter what, whatever the pay happens to be.
Do you think that having higher qualified teachers would have a positive effect on students' learning?
Yeah,
as compared to...
absolutely. And if they're teachers, not higher qualified people.
Yeah, no.
So the whole people where they say, have an engineer come in and teach math. You can't
It's not
do
necessarily.
that. Because whether or not people believe it, teachers have a certain type of personality that they know how to connect, they know how to change things, they know how to really sort of reach the student.
Fairly sure this district employs teachers who are well qualified to do their jobs, if not more than qualified.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you think it could affect our society?
I think if you have people who have more education, hopefully they want to make more of an impact on, I guess I'll say, within society. So they work harder, they try to, how do I want to say it, make an impact. Try to give back. I think the more education is, you really, it's more philanthropist type attitude and not just a me attitude.
Do you think the No Child Left Behind Act has a big impact on the education system and, more importantly, the students?
I think it did, but not for your fairly, I'll say, productive schools. Like our school district, it did not have a big impact on us. If you talk about things like Detroit or the school districts that were struggling, yes. But for us, because they just kept saying you have to keep improving, well, we were already up to like 95%. So now that means next year we have to get 96%. And if you don't, then you're considered to be failing. Or if you've got 94% passing, but it's lower than what it was the year before, that should not be considered to be a failing school.
Staff. The administration, Derm, the guidance counseling department. That's not a real thing.
I think student handbook.
Mr. Hersey.
All the rules.
Mr. Chapman.
Strictness.
Mr. Chapman. Mrs. Reed. All do a wonderful job.
Mrs. Reed, Mrs. Toddy.
Mrs. Toddy. Well, I love all my teachers.
I love all my teachers.
I actually haven't had a teacher I didn't like.
you will lose funding,
So,
which is not a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never a good thing to lose funding with regards to education. So you lose the funding, and then you're put on probationary status. And then if you still go 93 the next year, then they can bring in someone to say, we need to revamp everything, and what you're doing is wrong.
it's like even schools that are like already proficient, they like still say you have to keep improving.
Yeah.
So I guess it's safe to say that you don't think the standards of the act are reasonable, right? For some schools,
I don't think you
but
can. I don't think you can write a blank rule
for-
for everyone. I think sure it'd be ideal if you could, but you can't because you have different clientele for different school districts. And so for some school districts, you're talking about we want these kids to be able to read. For another school district, it's we want them all taking chemistry. There's a big difference between the two.
At the end of the day, it really depends on the students. Like, if you don't have students who are willing to like
want to
actually
learn.
apply themselves and respond,
Then you're.
Do you think it's a
then
teacher's
that's a
job
society
to, do you
problem.
think it's a
That's a
teacher's
parenting
job?
problem, society problem, and
Well,
it's probably a
exactly, it's
socioeconomic
society
problem. I'm glad we go to a school where we don't have bully problems.
I mean, I'm a bully, but besides me,
Giant tortoises are a very big problem.
we have
There's just an overtake of
Just
giant
wild
Giant-
dogs.
Wild 3.5-foot radius tortoises run rampant
Panda watch.
So this has to do with
And massive-
education in what way?
The 2003 No Child Left Behind Act. Giant tortoises.
And semi big turtles.
Tortoises.
Snappy
semi-large.
turtles.
Semi-large.
They snap. And they're rogue. They travel in
Next
rogue
question.
packs, 6 to 7. They abduct small children.
Next question.
Okay,
Then
how'd you make that?
it starts with this.
Starts with this. This is where it all starts. Fold by fold.
Open house.
Open house.
Open house.
Okay. You don't have to like.
Alright, pop colors, pop. Might as well stop.
You don't have to restrict what you're gonna say if it's bad. We'll just cut it out.
I'm a duly appointed federal
Well,
marshal.
then, I'm also a duly appointed federal marshal.
Federally invited to carry a firearm.
Duly appointed again. Okay.
Yeah, wait, are you using this?